Being one of the premier institutes in the country, VJTI has also hosted guests and speakers from diverse fields. Today, on this Innovation Day, Ecell VJTI is proud to host two of the most brilliant minds in the field of innovation and entrepreneurship. Ecell VJTI believes that entrepreneurship is the key to India's development. To fulfill this vision, it has conceptualized and successfully implemented various initiatives to help students, young entrepreneurs, and professionals in their entrepreneurial journey. After a successful guest lecture yesterday, where Mr. Sachin Teke, M Indicator founder, and Mr. Ajay Rane, founder of Fixman, shared their struggles and achievements, we are back with another interactive session. We are honored to have Dr. Divya Rathod and Mr. Kaushik Bose as our guests today. Can we have a huge round of applause, please? Dr. Divya Rathod is founder of Divyainnovation, where number of innovations are worked upon with the purpose to prevent, protect, and sustainability. Apart from this, she has numerous achievements to her name, such as UN Women National Winner, UK Go Global India, and the list goes on. Whereas, on the other hand, Mr. Kaushik Bose is co-founder and CEO of SustLabs, which is Mumbai-based IoT company in the energy space. SustLabs deciphers real-time electricity consumption of the house all the way up to heavy appliance level just by analyzing smart meter data. This provides valuable insights for utilities, appliance manufacturers, etc., which creates data-driven revenue opportunities. Now I hereby request our Dean R&D Dr. Farooq Kazi sir to felicitate our chief guest Divya Rathod and Dr. Divya Rathod and Mr. Kaushik Bose with bouquet expressing our appreciation and gratitude. I hereby call upon stage Dr. Divya Rathod. Can we have a huge round of applause?
Hello, can you hear me? So let's make it like a interactive session, okay? I think like now I have become a doctor, but I was a student like you guys, sitting out in the VJTI, like thinking of, I was in medical field, but whenever I used to have my friends who are from engineering, when we used to discuss, it was like, where you want to go? VJTI is something from the Maharashtra. So yeah, like give a big round of applause for you guys. Yeah, you have made it over here. It's a very big thing. And looking forward, where I started with my innovation journey, because I was a student and how I decided to become a PhD, like I wanted to do research. I was into the medical field like MBBS, and you guys are into engineering. And then how did I evolve into, getting into the entrepreneurship and innovation part? So it's always there inside, but you always have to, get it out. Somewhere in the other. So I started with my journey in 2014 when I was in second year of my microbiology college, and In 2014, Maharashtra has actually taken a session of 50 people across Maharashtra, and they have actually put up an innovation lab in Mumbai University. So we were taken into Mumbai University, and we were being groomed. What is innovation? What is, how do you see the problems? How do you take into consideration and everything? And we were like very small kids like you, second year of college, and trying to learn and trying to grasp it. But that time we were very new. Like हमें actually नहीं पता था कि हम आगे जाके सच्ची में इसको करने वाले हैं या नहीं है, और आगे जाके हमारा, because we as kids we always think that okay we are going to complete our degree, बैचलर्स कर लिया, मास्टर्स कर लिया, शायद पीएचडी कर लिया, और उसके बाद एक जॉब मिलेगा फॉर 1 लाख to 1 लाख के आसपास हमें जॉब मिलेगा, या फिर आप प्रोफेसर बन जाओ, या फिर समथिंग लाइक दैट. We have always, a straight pathway was being taught, but no one taught us, or no one, even the government of India, for them also it was new that, Startup India was started and everything when I was in my college time. But yes, this pathway is still unexplored. And this is like already explored in different countries like Japan, Singapore. When I see them, when I just been to Japan, Singapore, and through United Nations and all, these people have literally started their journey long back, and they're way ahead of us. But yes, the journey which they have been through, our students are still, have to have that feel of journey, because no one has been through that journey. I'm here, I'm like the first experimental kid to be in that particular seed, because I was the first incubatee of AIC NMIMS. So जब अटल इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर इज द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का हर जगह पे अटल इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर होता है, लाइक यू हैव योर ओन अटल इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर इन VJTI. वैसे ही गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने हर एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट में एक अटल इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर लगाए हुए हैं, एंड आई वाज द फर्स्ट इंक्यूबेटी ऑफ अटल इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर, एंड आई वाज लाइक वेरी रॉ टेकिंग माय इनोवेशन इनटू पार्ट. सो व्हेनेवर समवन आस्क मी कि आपका इनोवेशन क्या है, सो आई हैव दिस वन पिच व्हिच इज ready to go. Like cleaning toilet every day is such a big problem. But if you get clean, hygienic, infectionless and odorless toilets without cleaning it, such a great solution. Silverynanos brings this solution to you. Just apply once in the toilet, you get infectionless and easy cleaning toilet for 1 month. So this was like, अगर आप मुझे 3 बजे भी उठ के ये पूछोगे ना, तो मुझे ये रटा हुआ है कि भाई कोई भी अगर पूछे तो फिर ये ही बोलना है. Because this is what, I have been, and I have been dreaming, and I have been thinking about it. So it has become a part of my life, that innovation has become a part of my life, and the entrepreneurship journey has become a part of my life. So I'll start with what I have been through. I hope that it inspires you, because I was a kid like you from, बहुत like मेरे पूरे खानदान में किसी ने साइंस नहीं लिया है, to be frank, and I was the first one to take in science, and then I was like, I want to become a scientist. My dad and mom, we all are from Marwadi family. They're like, oh koi ve, because Marwadi business, they're like, paisa lao. Or chupchap, या फिर for girls it's like marriage, or for boys it's like you sit in the shop and you do business out there. But this was something very new for me, and I have faced a lot of challenges to come here. But yes, all those journey and challenges is actually success. Because success, if you think that I can become a millionaire, I have a Porsche car or something like that, I really feel that is not. I'm still, been on my, way of success. So yes, when I started with the journey, I suffered from UTI when I was in 12th standard, and I quit my MBBS and I wanted to become a scientist. So I took, first तो मेरे पापा से झगड़ा किया कि मुझे MBBS नहीं करना. I got a seat in Pune, Pravra. I was like, no, I don't want to, get into MBBS. I want to become like a scientist. And I want to explore, more world into it. I was like, engineering was, like my physics and everything was good, but yeah, I wanted to do something in biologically. So this was, microbiology was something of my interest. I always wanted, I have an affection for it. So I took microbiology as a subject. Then in second year, I was enthusiastic kid. जैसे आप लोग सब professors के पास जाते होंगे, कौन सा नया project कर रहे हो, because professors have a lot of ideas. They have seen world more than you. They have seen, they have been to places. They have done their literature survey, so they have more ideas of what problems are going on. And that, so you guys, should go to your professors. That's what I'm trying to say. अब जाओ, अब silly से silly idea, try करो, because they will be the one to guide you guys. And they will be the one. So my professor, Professor Rajesh Patil, he was like, okay, let's try, something new. I had some ideas that the problem is there. Even the idea was existing. The solution was already existing in the world, but still you doing it because you have that particular passion is something, different. And then you do, of course, Google हमारे पापा है ही, तो आप Google करके you can just find it out that whether this solution existing, what the problems are. So I started with, because I had UTI and I suffered from UTI in 2014, and I was very studious, so I have to miss my college for 2 months, and I was in the bed, I was hospitalized, and then I was like I missed my college, I missed my studies, and I am just sitting in the hospital. And there are many women who have to miss this, because every woman has UTI once in their lifetime. UTI is urinary tract infection, जिससे आपको बार toilet like urine आता है, so you can't even use any public washrooms. You lose weight, you have a lot of illness, weakness inside your body, so it is emotionally, mentally, physically weak, and you get into your you just like to be in your bed for as many months as you cannot heal it. So it was a very big problem, and I got to know in the bed, of course, being a science student, हमें काम ही क्या है, तो हम Google लेके, I was like searching what is symptoms of UTI, how to treat it, how many people are suffering it, and what is the cause and everything. So I got to know that the cause is actually very huge, because we women have to hold the pee, and what do you say, if suppose I am traveling through, abhi मैं आई माटुंगा से, I came through railways only, you cannot use, क्या आप girls use करते हो public washrooms? No, you cannot use public washrooms, you cannot think of using any public washroom even if you are feeling like peeing, because there is so much of unhygienic nature, like you always have that fear, you have to squat, or but okay, we as young women, we can just control, and we can just go forward, घर पे जाके करेंगे. But what about pregnant women? What about children? What about disabled women? What about these old ladies? उनको तो old ladies के time, old women तो cannot actually even have the control power, because they keep on losing that control power. They have to use a public washroom, and public washroom is under municipal corporation. Of course, it has been taken into consideration. Just I'm into the journey. They are being paid almost 100 rupees per toilet to clean the toilet, और फिर हमसे भी पैसे लेते हैं वो लोग to use the washroom. And I was like, where is this going? And this is like a huge gap between when I went inside when I did my research. So I was like, every toilet has been given money to clean the toilet, but there is no cleanliness, because they are using phenyls, they are using the odd methods right now. And phenyl में तो microorganisms are playing आराम से football और वो सब, like कोई मरता तो है नहीं. They are using very सस्ता वाला phenyl. I'm like, this is something which have to be taken into consideration. So I came back to the college, and I was like, sir, let's do something with the nanotechnology, what technology we have. So knowing technology is something very important. So when people say that ki studies important nahi hai, सिर्फ धंधा करो, business करो, हम सुनते हैं अरे अंबानी ने what do you say, they had just studied for 10th standard, they have just studied this much or something like that, and they are big businessmen. Of course you can become a businessman, but if you want to change the world, if you want to address a problem, if you want to be an innovator and a businessman, then you need to know about the technologies which are going on inside onto this whole research field. So you are at the right place right now. आप लोगों को पता है, आप लोग अभी पढ़ रहे हो. So always think, whenever someone or teacher is teaching you some or the other technology, you just think of some problems which this particular technology can solve it. So there are so many problems. India is full of problems. Nothing like it. Everyone outside India वाले भी यहाँ पे आते हैं problems ढूंढने के लिए, और problems का solution करके हमें ही बेच के जाते हैं. So it's like मतलब तो हमें क्या कमी है basically? हम क्यों नहीं उनके problem, हमारे लोगों की problems का solution हम ही क्यों नहीं ढूंढ सकते? That's my question is. And that's where you guys are sitting right now. I know you guys have thought of कि it takes a lot of courage and a lot of studies. You guys have come here and from different backgrounds, from different places. And you might always think that, okay, I'll be doing a 9-to-5 job, I'll be getting a good placement and everything. Placement, doing a job, everything is fine. But at the end, when you sleep, okay, like for me, UTI was a problem. And before that, there was, I used to think about the women who are getting raped. So I actually even invented a, belt, which is right now going on, but I did not work on it. So in this 250 students ka jo Maharashtra ka wo jo tha, tabhi I have invented a belt. But I literally, I left it. Because I was like some of the people, I want to do my masters, I'll do it later on and everything. But that was an opportunity. If I would have taken my idea into the real solution, and if I would have done my startup at that time in 2014, then I think I would have been at a bigger place and it would be a success story to a different level. Because there are like the same solution got $1 million in USA, which I left behind, okay, in 2014. And still, the irony is, I got a call from Australia, a woman who is doing almost a women's safety, belt and the GPS system and everything, and she has told me to be part of Indian team. So, like, आप देखो कि आपने नहीं किया तो कोई और कर ही लेगा, और फिर बाद में आप उसको उसके नीचे आप you will be a part of it. Then why not you? It just takes a little bit of courage. It just takes a little bit of the journey to be enjoyed. Thoda struggle rahega, thoda there'll be twist, but this all things will be a learning for you guys. So I just want कि जो भी आप सोच रहे हो, like just tell me one of the ideas, let's be interactive. किसी के दिमाग में कुछ भी एक simple सा idea है कि कोई problem है जिसको आपको solve करना है. Anyone out here who can just share one of the simple idea which you think that is something it's not going to be appreciated, but it may work out. Anyone? अरे यार ऐसे भूत जैसे मत रहो यार. I am feeling very nervous out here.
No language.
Anyone, any language, any not supposed to be in English.
Hello, I'm Vaibhavi Das.
Hi Vaibhavi.
So basically, I'm not from Mumbai, and when first time I visited this city, the problem after roaming through the whole city and sightseeing, that there are parking issues.
Huge issue in Mumbai.
Yes. So I usually think about an app or a website where we could find, like, if we put some destination or a time, and
yeah, of course. Like, I'll tell you what it can be. So there are so many buildings nearby and which has like free parking space, and buildings do have a lot of free space where people can park. So even building can get a revenue.
yes,
for parking.
and also where we could find some free spaces, and also we could rent that space, and they could pay, and there can be we could bring some small businesses over there, small vendors over there who could also rent us for the space. They would pay for a day, and we could
Yeah,
buy
we can
that.
do something. So
Yes.
what is stopping you?
So
This is
basically,
an amazing idea, okay?
Yeah.
And Uber will buy it if you go to a scale, to a scale. He may buy it.
so basically an app for parking spaces. So that's my
That's
idea.
a great idea. Actually, it's a great idea. Then, like, yeah, it's a very problem-solving idea which Mumbai is facing, and all other cities might also face. But starting with Mumbai because it's crowded, and it's an amazing idea. Then what is stopping you? That's what my question is.
So basically I should know Flutter, an app making.
I think
framework.
VJTI does have a software company. कोई है software वाला यहाँ पे? नहीं है ना तो उसके साथ tie up करो.
Yeah, so I should learn myself some app development.
You don't have to learn the app. The person who so entrepreneurship doesn't go आपको सब कुछ आता है. मुझे भी बहुत कुछ नहीं आता है. In nanotechnology, yes, I am running a nanotechnology company, but I don't know how to make all the nanoparticles. Even every one of us, even if I've done my PhD, I don't know everything about what I have done on my PhD. So you don't have to know everything about it. You will find partners. Okay, VJTI is something, VJTI, and you have so many colleges. RUIA is there. Like Mumbai is a huge, you can just find out. You can find out partners who has knowledge in that particular field, an app maker, and he'll do it, and he'll be your co-founder. See, whenever you're making a company, this mistake even I have made it. If you think that you're going to walk alone, you're just going to be, walking for a few distance. For a company, even for investors to come in and it has to have a 4 directors compulsory. क्यों? अगर आप कल बीमार हो गए, कल आप कहीं पे चले गए, या फिर you have no interest, the investors whom they are going to rely on, or even the company, like whom they are going to rely on, the people, the public, whom they are going to rely on. You can't be a single person to be running the company. So you'll always need, co-founders. And finding co-founders at this age would be the best. क्यों बताओ? क्योंकि सब लोगों को experimental stage पे है आप लोग, सब जन. You all guys want to, try something new. You can just go and talk to him about your idea. Like now everyone has listened to your idea. If anyone is interested, like from software, please go and help her. You can just make a, prototype. Register a company. 5,000 में आपको company बन जाती है, ठीक है? चली नहीं चली वो दूसरी बात. मैंने भी ऐसे ही बना दिया था. For me, I think I am the first person in my whole family to make a company. And I'm like, what are you doing? You are a woman. You are not supposed to make a company. आगे जाके शादी वादी हो जाएगी, then what? But the point is, just make a company. 5,000 जाएंगे, 10,000 जाएंगे. If you want, I will invest in that. 10,000 जाएंगे, but then you will be, having that particular space, and there are so many grants to it that you don't know the world right now. Okay, the world is like huge, and there are so many grants. There are so many Startup India. There are so many United Nations grants. There are so many other things, which will be, felicitating you. So to be frank, I have not put up a single money in my company. I have taken money from grants. I've taken money from competition. I've taken money from, United Nations, from other people by applying in competition, and I've made sales. So all my money, and I have reinvested. So this is, the organic way to start. If you think that, okay, you have an idea, जैसा मेरे साथ हुआ था, I had an idea of the safety bell, which is now, an Australian company is doing it, and they are asking me to work for them. So the same thing will happen to you also. You know about Agrawal, the Oyo guy. He's just 21. Then who?
Basically, I think that I don't have that business IQ. So
No one is having that business IQ. No one, actually. What is business? It's very simple. You have it. You have your customers सामने. Literally, what is business? You feel that only the Marwadis, Gujaratis can do business? Seriously? No. Who said yes? No. Business is very simple. If I am having this watch, if अगर मुझे सर को बेचना है वॉच, अगर सर के हाथ में बिल्कुल वॉच नहीं है, मैं उनको बोलूंगी आपको पता है आपका कितना टाइम हो रहा है? नहीं पता. लो, I am giving you the watch. Take it from me. So simple selling it is. There is nothing to be known. No one knows business. ऊपर से जितने भी मारवाड़ी गुजराती जितने भी businessmen हैं, they are saying they're illiterate. It's a very simple logic. It's simple basic thing that you have your customers, you have your you have the product, they need it, they have a problem, they need it, you sell it to them, and you already identified the problem. So you already have customers in your place. All the cars, all the big people who, even I have a car, I'll go and park in your space. Like if Uber is giving, then Uber or something Google Maps is giving, then we'll park it in that particular space. So yeah, it's something you should start with. Software engineers, you can just go and start. That's what you do in college. Syllabus hai. Yeah, syllabus is always there. It's going to be there on Google also. But the important part in college is you have these students, you have this environment, you have these people, and these are going to be your co-founders. You find a co-founder from these people, they'll be lasting longer than what you find it outside college. समझ रहे हो? So this is your, why you came to VJTI. Why not some other, college? Why not some, some college which doesn't even have any grades? Knowledge तो same ही मिल रहा है ना सबको. वहाँ पे भी वही same books है. Because these are the, like, why you go to IIM? Why you go to IIT? Because of people. Because you have this particular networking session. If you don't network, this is what even I have, done some mistakes. If I don't network at this particular age, if you become shy, if you, okay, no, this, what will people judge me and all that stuff, it's not going to work. You have to talk to each other if you have ideas. And you can, develop those ideas into, real business and real business. तो चलते चलते सीख लेंगे, सब लोग सिखा देंगे, सब लोग ज्ञान देने के लिए बैठे ही हैं. तो आप लोगों को मैं भी बिजनेस सिखा देगा, मैं भी सिखा दूंगी. The point is, you make these team is very important. So you have to find your co-founders from here, and the best minds will be here. So I think you will, next time I come, I think you will have a co-founder, and at least you will start working on your prototype. Why not?
Yes, of course. I'll definitely try. Thank you so much for motivation. And yes, what do you basically think about philanthropy? Like,
Okay, so I have this thing. Philanthropy is an amazing area, and you should do it. But before that, you should first fill your own stomach. ठीक है? अगर आप like you, of course, the donations and doing a philanthropic, things. Of course, you will do it, but once you get it into that particular zone, everyone has frequency. Okay, every person's thinking has some frequency. Then this is the truth. What I believe. Okay, that if I am having everything. If I am satisfied, I don't want cars and I don't want, but I am satisfied with whatever purpose I have. Like I have got my railway or the toilet wala project, everything is done. Okay, and now I have invested that money, my project money into this. Now I have got a lot of, now I want to do different projects. At that time I will be, doing philanthropic things. So first I will try to find my purpose. I'll complete that purpose. I'll invest that much, my strength, my energy, my everything to this app, whatever you're going to say, whatever you're going to make. And then I'm going to, with that, once I reach and I'm satisfied, okay, this is working on a, auto mode level, then I'm going to do all my philanthropic things.
Thank you so
That's
much.
practical, I feel. So, yeah, that's something which everyone has to do. Anyone else who is having ideas and they really want to do it?
मॅम आय हॅव मेकॅनिकल स्टुडंट म्हणजे मी मेकॅनिकलचा विद्यार्थी आहे हिंदी में बोल रहे तो
अरे हाँ बोलो ना.
वो क्या है मैं
मराठी भी चलेगा.
हाँ तो मैं ना पहिले मी IT
हाँ तुम्ही मराठीमध्ये बोला. मला
मी HSC वोकेशनल करून आलोय त्याच्यामध्ये 2 वर्ष मी आहे ना म्हणजे गाड्यावर मेकॅनिकल आहे फुल मेकॅनिकल आहे म्हणजे मेकॅनिकलचं ज्ञान आहे तर मी असं ऑब्झर्व केलं मी फायनली शेतकरी कुटुंबातून आलेलो आहे सांगलीतून प्लेस मधून त्यावेळेला मी ऑब्झर्व केलं जेव्हा गाडी आपण चालवतो 2 व्हीलर 4 व्हीलर कोणतीही गाडी असेल तर त्यावेळी बर्नआउट जे फ्यूल होतं जे फ्यूल बर्नआउट होतं ते प्रॉपरली बर्नआउट होत नाही जेव्हा आपण फुल ऍक्सिलरेशन देतो कोणत्याही गाडीला द्या तुम्ही 20 ते 27 सेकंद मध्ये तुमचा जो सायलेन्सर आहे तो पूर्ण रेड तुम्ही बघू शकता पण आता नवीन जे टेक्नॉलॉजी आलेले आहेत ना मग ते टेक्नॉलॉजी मध्ये त्यांनी इम्प्रुव्हमेंट केले फक्त सामान हलकं दिलेलं आहे म्हणजे तुम्ही जुन्या काळात जरी गेला ना तर ते जे क्वालिटी होती म्हणजे जे तो पिकअप होता म्हणजे माझ्याकडे 2 स्प्लेंडर आहेत शक्यतो स्प्लेंडर चालतात मी न्यू मॉडेल BS6 पण वापरतो आणि ओल्ड मॉडेल पण वापरतो जे ओल्ड मॉडेल BS6 खेचते मी आता कॅल्क्युलेशन बसून केलं की भाई ओल्ड मॉडेल जी स्प्लेंडर खेचते ना मतलब जवळपास तुम्ही धरून चला मी मित्राला पण व्हिडिओ पाठवला होता जवळजवळ 80 लिटरचे 4 कॅन त्याच्यावर 10 लिटरचे 2 आणि 20 लिटरचे 2 असे टोटली जर केले तर 400च्या आसपास किलोच्या वर वेट जातो आणि जी सुझुकीची सुपर कॅनी गाडी आहे त्याची पासिंगच 2600 kgची येते पासिंग
I'll tell you this. See, we all are having companies. When you start a company, all these big peoples, पहले आपको पता है फ्रिज कितना चलता था, टीवी कितना चलता था. Now everyone wants the short span of time, which is wrong. मतलब जो गलत है. क्यों बताओ? क्योंकि उनका नया मॉडल आता है, उनका इनोवेशन होता है. They want to sell you that. Now even the phone, I was using OnePlus 6. ठीक है, OnePlus 6 नॉर्मली एक फोन मेरा नोकिया का कितना साल तक चल रहा है बट नाउ OnePlus 6 wants that version is not going to get वो खराब हो गया बेसिकली 3 साल में ना खराब हो गया because they want the companies want you to buy the new version why they are making iPhone 14 why they are making iPhone 15
मैडम मेरा इनोवेशन ये नहीं है मेरा
अच्छा your innovation
इनोवेशन क्या है आप गाड़ी चलाओगे ना तो उसका
So your innovation, whatever your innovation is, and you want to, increase the shelf life of the engine.
डीजल इंजन में जैसा स्पार्क प्लग नहीं होता है, अदर मतलब फ्यूल बर्न होता है विदाउट स्पार्क प्लग. वैसे ही हम अगर अभी नए CNG मॉडल में देखा तो वो साइलेंसर से पानी निकलता है विदाउट मतलब वेस्ट नहीं निकलता कार्बन मोनोऑक्साइड नहीं निकलता CNG गाड़ी होती है उससे पानी निकलता है. तो मेरा ये इनोवेशन करना चाहता हूँ कि अभी जो BS6 में नोजल के पास दिया है ना तभी भी गाड़ियां मतलब हीट मारती है जब हमारी गाड़ियां पूरा फ्यूल अंदर ही पूरा प्रॉपर बर्न जब होगा ना तो जो बाहर जो पावर देगी हो तो वो पावर हम ज्यादा यूज कर सकते हैं और इन्वायरमेंट के लिए भी वो कोई इश्यू नहीं होगा. 2 स्ट्रोक इंजन 2 स्ट्रोक में पावर आता था 4 स्ट्रोक इंजन में 4 स्ट्रोक में एक बार ही पावर आता है लेकिन इसका
So whatever you have तुमने आपने जो भी सोचा है क्योंकि मैं इतनी टेक्निकल नहीं हूँ मैं माइक्रोबायोलॉजिस्ट हूँ आप मैकेनिकल इंजीनियर हो तो थोड़ा सा वो मतलब मैं समझ रही हूँ थोड़ा लेकिन जो भी आपके प्रोफेसर है और आपको जो ये आइडियोलॉजी है आप उसके ऊपर ट्राई कीजिए, मतलब विद द प्रोफेसर और विद यू नो यू योरसेल्फ, एंड देन यू कैन सेल, यू कैन पेटेंट दिस पर्टिकुलर टेक्नोलॉजी एंड यू कैन गिव इट टू some your own company, Splendor or some, like the one who is owning that this is something what you are lacking and what you know, so you should, the basic thing is you should now work on it. जब आपको पता है प्रॉब्लम क्या है, जब आपको पता है सोल्यूशन क्या है, तो आप किसके लिए रुके हो?
मॅडम मी अभी उदक म्हणजे इथे आलो ना त्यावेळी बघितलं की ते छोट्या छोट्या गोष्टी मी इथून शिकायला आलो. तिथे काही नव्हतं. इंग्रजी तुम्ही जे बोलता ते मला प्रॉपरली कळत नाहीये.
चलेगा, किसने बोला अंग्रेजी इज जस्ट अ लैंग्वेज की है ना, अभी बिकॉज इंटरनेशनल लेवल एक लैंग्वेज है, बट टेल मी, मैं जितने भी जन से मिली हूँ जिन्होंने भी रीजनल लैंग्वेज में पढ़ाई की है ना, उनका दिमाग हमसे 10-15 गुना ज्यादा यू नो इन टर्म्स ऑफ दिस, ठीक है, क्योंकि वो लोगों ने उनके लैंग्वेज में पढ़ाई की और उन्होंने प्रॉब्लम अच्छी तरह से समझा है, उन्होंने वो कंसेप्ट अच्छी तरह से समझा है. तो आप ये मत सोचो कि लैंग्वेज की वजह से यू नो समवन इज गोइंग टू यू नो, आप किसी से बात करोगे या फिर आप किसी से ये करोगे तो उनकी प्रॉब्लम, ठीक है. आप जो हो ना इंडिविजुअल, और आप कॉन्फिडेंट रहो, जो आप हो वो हो. इंग्लिश ठीक है रास्ते में सीख लेंगे, बट लेकिन आपका जो कंसेप्ट है, आप जाओ, सबको हिंदी आती है यहाँ पे, सबको महाराष्ट्र में मराठी आती है, कोई भी आपको हेल्प करेगा. अगर किसी ने हेल्प नहीं किया तो मुझे बोलना, मैं उनको, अपन दोनों उनकी क्लास लेंगे.
ठीक है, थैंक यू.
Let her complete her post to talk and we'll have.
Yeah. So okay. So basically, when I started with UTI, so I told you that I have not taken any money from my dad or from any of the investors. I have actually taken it from the grants and from competitions. So I invented in 2014. I was presenting in ISC, Indian Science Congress, in a paint form. There were a lot of problems into this particular innovation. I went in 2018 में मैं वापस NMIMS, if you all know NMIMS, there was a chancellor's challenge, so I got 5 lakh rupees. From that I innovated my spray, which you can see in Flipkart. So मैं उसके ऊपर आपको ये नहीं करती हूँ कि that I have made a spray, and then in 5 lakh rupees I started. In 2020 there was COVID. So how innovation works? That's what I wanted to tell you. आपने एक टॉयलेट का स्प्रे बनाया, ठीक है, अब कोविड आ गया, अब तो पब्लिक टॉयलेट सारे बंद हो गए, ठीक है. Now what will you do? Because you have a spray which is antibacterial, antimicrobial, it is going to give properties like that. I am a microbiologist. At that particular time, I thought that why not test for COVID? So now the innovation comes like this. You have actually thought to solve a problem which was for UTI, for public toilets. And now there is COVID, because there is full world is actually, you know, having this particular problem. So now what I have done is I have innovated my product with antimicrobial, antibacterial surface, staying on the surface for 1 month. So it was already staying on toilets for 1 month. I was like, why not for COVID? Because people are, you know, afraid of, you know, touching on the surfaces and everything. So I supplied to Indian Army. I wrote to Indian Army. There was a distributor, Evo Plus. I did a white labeling for them, and you know, I did a sale of around 35 to 40 lakh rupees in COVID. बैठे बैठे घर पे, जबकि फैक्ट्रीज बंद हुई, बहुत कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स आई, but still I could do that particular sale of 35 to 40 lakh rupees through a distributor in Indian Army, and my products went as an Happy to Plus Plus. So I just changed my purpose. I saw the problem. So a smart entrepreneur or a smart person, or not a smart also, एक इंसान को आपको देखना चाहिए कि प्रॉब्लम, उनको सामने वाले को क्या सोल्यूशन चाहिए. The world right now needs a solution of COVID, and you have already been on that particular line. So why can't you customize your solution to COVID? That's what I'm trying to say. Even if you are making a solution, and you can customize those solutions to different versions of it itself. That is what a person does. So like पायल लेने जाओ, और अगर किसी को पायल नहीं चाहिए तो उसको चेन के नाम पे बेच सकते हैं. तो that is what, you know, what person needs. That's the main thing. What is the problem? What is the problem he or she is facing, and then you have to give a solution to them. So it was always customized. Then I did this particular in COVID. And after that, you know, I got a lot of grants from Narendra Modi, UNDP. You know, we did a Nari Saaf Toilet Ki Savari across railway stations, whatever the main mission was. We did a lot of projects, got recognized by UN Women, signatory of UN Women. Then comes the real business. Now, because आपने एक बार कर लिया, now the problem is again to the public toilets. Now going to the government is completely a bhul bhulaiya. Like having public toilets. So these are the problems you will face whenever you're going to go to, start something or the other. I was like, everyone told me in railways and everything, आप यहाँ पे try मत करो, बहुत सारा, बुलबुलैया है. And you will be, stuck because there's a lot of politics, there's a lot of internal things which is going on, which everyone knows but doesn't know. But ठीक है, तो I was like, ठीक है, मेरे को दूर ही रहना है. Then I was like, let me start with B2C. Like my audience is going to be my customer. मैं individual को target करूँगी. I put it on my Amazon and put it on Flipkart. But एक product से तो चलेगा नहीं. So I innovated 14 products with the same concept कि आपको surface के बीच में layer लगाना है, okay, between air and surface, and it will be antimicrobial, water and stain repellent, and how many problems it can solve with different surfaces. So I made one helmet. So helmet के ऊपर आपको एक spray आता है, helmet protector करके, happy to helmet protector, which will prevent you from hair loss, and also water and stain repellent in rainy season. Okay, it is water and stain repellent, so it is going to prevent you from water. Also, it will be preventing you from infections, which is like dandruff is an infection because the microorganisms keep on growing. कोई हेलमेट होता नहीं है, कोई इतना अच्छा है नहीं, हमारे यहाँ पे हाइजीन का तो छोड़ ही दो. तो let's have the spray in place once in a month. That becomes a helmet protector. Like that, I have made 14 products for different kinds of surfaces, solving different kinds of problems with terms of preventing infections, even increasing the sustainability of the product and protecting the human health. So these are the three concepts which I made in my company. Protect करना है, prevent करना है, sustain करना है. These are like सब देसी, एकदम basic. इसमें कोई modern science नहीं है, यहाँ पे कोई there is nothing rocket science or something like that. And these were the basics. And I saw the problem, I'm giving them the solution. Now after looking that, currently for the toilet itself, so I'm telling you the opportunity comes to you when you are doing. If you keep on going on, I'm not telling कि एक साल में after COVID I would have stopped कि toilets बंद हो गए, अभी क्या करेंगे, कंपनी घाटे में जा रही है, बैठ जाओ ऐसे ही करके. But आपके पास दिमाग है, आपके पास solutions है, you are scientists, you are engineers, and engineers are the best minds. Like they all are scientists and they all are, you should know that next क्या लाना है. So it's not, I'm not telling you, it's not necessary. Even for her, if she is saying that मुझे ये parking वाला है, parking वाला शायद नहीं चला. Suppose there is some other problem, you are not getting that revenue. You can start a stall, you can, because you have customers now with you, so you can do n number of things. Like what Paytm did, it was first a transaction, but now अभी वो लोग Amazon भी बन गए, अभी वो लोग ये भी बन गए, क्यों बन रहे हैं? सब लोग सब कुछ क्यों डाल रहे हैं? Because everyone have customers, they want to not leave customers to other websites. So something smartly you have to do, because you are on a journey, you know you have customers, what customers want, you're going to give it to you. But your purpose and your what do you say, ऐसा नहीं कि मैं ये कर रही हूँ और अलग ही बाद में rocket science, rocket बेचने लगी, ऐसा नहीं है. You should be on your same line with different innovation in your own same line. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, then I got this opportunity from Urban Ministry, Indian government, called Urban Ministry and External Affairs, Urban Ministry, Urban Affairs and Housing Ministry and Urban Affairs. So I got 20 lakh rupees currently from Government of India to do my project in different states. So now government itself is taking, initiative that, startups को वो लोग, आगे बढ़ाने के लिए and technology change करने के लिए in the government system, they are doing a lot of things. So they are telling that you come, you do the, you do the changes, and once you are done with one state, you can go to different states and you can do your, you can scale up. So this is what, you don't know. There are so many opportunities, like United Nations के अंदर इतने सारे, UNEP है. Now you guys have internet, you have Instagram, you have Google. You can go, you can apply to n number of competition. Like there is one UNDP itself, just UNDP, United Nations Development Program. If you go to their website, you will get across world में जितने भी उनके competition है चल रहे, like Bill Gates Foundation वाला या फिर Startup India वाला या फिर even Startup India के websites पे भी, you get so many competition and there are so many prizes. There's so much of money support, there is so much of incubation support. So my thing is that you're not supposed to stop with your idea. Because I did a mistake once, then I learned from that mistake. I have now, settled myself for Silverynanos and, doing more towards it and doing more innovations in the terms. You guys, whatever, I have done a mistake, you guys shouldn't do at this particular age. अगर आपके पास idea है, कोई age नहीं होती है कुछ भी चालू करने के लिए. I think the youngest girl has made recently, she's 7-8 year old and she has a patent. She's the youngest girl holding a patent. So it's a simple thing. She just identified a problem, she patented it, and then she is doing, government is identifying it. So my thing is, आप एक बार boat में तो बैठो, बाद में अपने आप से things will come. There will be good fishes and pushing the good waves pushing you towards the kinara. So you just have to sit and you just have to get into the sea. You will get sharks also, and you will get good people also to get you towards this thing. But this will be a learning and lessons for you, and this will be cherished towards life. और ये एक अलग ही जर्नी है जिसमें अलग ही मजा आता है, एक अलग पैशन होता है, because you are doing for yourself. You're not working for someone else. So this is something you guys have to get into it, that जब आप खुद के लिए काम करते हो ना, then रात को अच्छी नींद आती है. So yeah, actually, and I've seen, my sister is a chartered accountant, and she works for PwC. She goes around 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, and she comes by 11 o'clock. उसका पूरा खून चूस लेते हैं. She is thinner than me, and literally, like at the end, she is also like that. I want to start my own, chartered accountant after, after she's just quitting it up, and she's going to start it. Because literally, you work for someone else. If you don't know the purpose, if you don't know, your ideas or something like that, ठीक है, तब तक आप किसी और के. But जिस दिन तुमको पता है कि तुम्हें ये करना है, तुम्हारा, you have this idea, you can solve this problem, you can do this, just leave everything and start. So, और बाकी पैसे वैसे तो आएंगे. Or I am living a good life. I have not taken money from everyone. If I can do it, everyone can do it, I feel. So your language should not be a barrier. Your idea should not be a barrier. Your looks or your anything which is internally trying to stop you, that what will people say, what will happen and everything, वो सब बाद में देखेंगे. वो सब when you make a pathway ना, side वाले चीजें ना अपने आप से बंद होना चालू हो जाता है. So you don't have to worry about your parents or your cousins or any number of people saying you whatever it is. You just have to walk on that particular pathway in terms of your self confidence. Idea है, idea में दम है, आगे वाला खरीदने के लिए ready है, let's go. That's what it is. That's it. I would just end on this note, and I hope that VJTI will, because it's an amazing institute, and I always wanted to come to see all the amazing institute. I've been to IIT Bombay. I wanted to come to VJTI, and one day, like today, I am here, and I want more startups, more women entrepreneurs, more women leaderships, and also male entrepreneurs to come and meet me somewhere in one of the conferences in Singapore or Dubai or US or somewhere. I can lead there. Or even India. I want you guys to be here. Okay? So any questions, any ideas you guys have, I can help you out. कुछ भी मैं कर सकती हूँ, please let me know.
Hello. Good evening, ma'am. Myself, Yash Rauf. Ma'am, actually, I had a question that now everyone knows that the entrepreneurship wave is on its trend. But, ma'am, do you really think the institutions are trying hard enough to teach the students entrepreneurship? Like, we have our regular lectures going on. Today, I have attended your session and I'm quite motivated right now. I want to do something. I want to start my own company. But tomorrow, I have my college and I have to attend my lectures. And it will be a regular day. So, don't you think so when is our education system going to change with respect to entrepreneurship?
Okay, so I'll tell you. I have, when I was in 2014, I was attending my all lectures. I was having 99% attendance when I was doing the project extra time. पूरा summer school मैंने ना college में ही summer vacations, मेरे सारे summer vacations मैं actually घर पे time pass नहीं करती थी. I used to be in college and I used to do work and I used to be making projects. And because you have that wavelength of working, बाकी सब अपने आप से helping hands में आ जाते थे. एक बार तो किसी ने मुझे बंद कर दिया था. Summer vacation था. It was the last day. They literally closed the door and they just went. So I had to किसी को तो lift से बुला के वो फिर निकालना पड़ा मुझे, because I was working in that particular district. So the basic thing is, I have done my PhD and I was having my startup. I had done my masters and NMIMS का masters like 12 hours and like microbiology का आप लोगों को at least 9 to 5 होता है. हमारा सुबह 6:30 बजे बुलाते हैं और हम लोग को 7 बजे छोड़ते थे. तो 12 घंटे का हमारा कॉलेज होता था. Being a because in microorganisms grow in their own space and pace of 24 hours, and there are a lot of big experiments going on. But at the same time, when you have an incubation period, मतलब जब भी आपको time मिले, so आपको पूरा उसमें what do you say, entrepreneurship में when you are doing suppose a prototype, you will get time. if you're Instagram बंद, Instagram 1 घंटा कर दो यार, 2 घंटे के 3 घंटे के बदले Facebook कम कर दो. So to be frank, I have not used Facebook, Instagram till 2019. So I was away from all these social media and I was working on myself to build myself and to build ideas and everything. But now Instagram and social media has a lot of reach because your prototypes and everything, you can get investors and everything. For that only I started Instagram. For that only I started, LinkedIn and Facebook. और followers अपने आप से आ रहे हैं because अभी आप एक reel बना के भेजोगे, you have to snatch hard. But if you're giving yourself to it, you don't have to search for likes and for followers because you know what you're doing. So my point is that if I can do with my PhD, which is like full-time PhD, and with my master's full-time, I can get time for it. You can also get time for it. क्योंकि अगर ऐसा आइडिया है ना जिसको आपको लग रहा है कि इसमें आएंगे पैसे और इसमें ना आगे बहुत स्कोप है, आपको सोने नहीं देता है वो.
All the questions will be taken after the sessions. So we will continue with the second speaker.
Yes. Thank you so much. You have guys been a lovely audience. Any questions, do let me know.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. That was a very insightful and thoughtful session. So here, there's a small request. Please don't leave unless and until the session ends. And I would like to call upon stage Mr. Kaushik Bose. Can we have a huge round of applause, please?
Lovely to see you all. Hi, audible? Yeah, I think I am. Is this good, or you want me to take that mic? Yeah? Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Ecell, Professor Kazi. I mean, lovely space, lovely infrastructure. I think you guys are privileged. You have to accept that, and it is not everybody who gets this sort of infrastructure. I mean, you must maximize this. I mean, if you are at all interested. Sure. This? Okay, sure. So I think what would be important for me to understand before I start my monologue would be to understand the profile of this class. I mean, are you guys amongst the ones who have already started a firm? Are you thinking of starting a firm? What is the most relevant thing that I could cover? Or you're in the process of identifying your idea, or you would want to scout for an investor. What do you want me to cover? Anything specific that you have in mind in general? Thinking of starting the firm? Perfect. So let me start with the fact that when I started the firm, I mean, of course, this was 4 or 5 years into the industry. After my masters, I was sort of, I would say, afraid, and I did not tell my wife that I started this. I took some time. Is this being recorded? I'll just choose my words carefully. So I took some time to really tell her that this is what I did, and I quit my job almost 3-4 days back, and I have a notice period of 2 days. It is still, I would say, although it's irreversible, but I can still hunt for a job. But I think this makes sense. I mean, I would love to go ahead and do this. I sort of comforted her, gave her the feeling that things are going to look bright as we go along. But the next couple of years would be sort of adventurous. I mean, who knew it would turn out to be next 4 or 5 years? But yeah, once I saw she was accepting this idea, I started informing my parents and eventually my in-laws. So overall 6 months, give or take. Now, what is important during this entire process was, of course, the opportunity to identify an idea. I mean, what is a relevant idea? Is that compelling enough? Is that solving a problem? And is that aligned to your moral compass? Because if it's not aligned to the moral compass, I think you lose interest. मतलब कुछ time बिताया, काम किया, नहीं किया, but you're not invested in it genuinely. कुछ ऐसा किया कि बताने में मजा आ रहा है. You have sort of created that liability for yourself कि अब इसको छोड़ना नहीं है, बता दिया अब इज्जत की बात है, ईगो पे ले लेते लोग. And that's how I've seen startups really coming to life, and many such cases. What is important in general when you start, especially this young, I think your liabilities are way, I would say, there are no risks per se. There's no downside to this arrangement. So Carlo, I think even if it fails, I mean, it just adds a beautiful line in your resume. I'm sure when the likes of Honeywell, GEs and others come to your campus, they would love to see that in you. I mean, generally, if you go by the McKinsey reports and if you go by the latest trends that's seen in the industry, and if you just go by the standard, I would say, HR blogs or podcasts, you would understand that the value that these guys give to people who have tried it on their own, that is immense. So I think that is a compelling reason enough for students to think about entrepreneurship. There's another side to it. I mean, we are sort of technical people. Even I came from an engineering background, and we tend to think in a certain direction. I mean, we don't necessarily learn much about humanities. We don't necessarily learn about the soft skills. We don't necessarily learn about the needs of the society. I mean, we're sort of operating in a silo. We see things through our lens. And that's exactly what you could solve. I mean, you could come out of that silo once you start identifying for a problem. I'll go back to my story. I was working for UNDESA, Department of Economic and Social Affairs. It was a UN water-funded project in Zaragoza in Spain. This was almost 2 years into my master's. Seemed fancy, many interesting diplomats who were sort of meeting us. We were lucky enough to be sitting with the top brass of the government and even the corporate sometimes, especially the ones who were sort of in a way related to water or air or gas. What we realized was सिर्फ बातें हो रही हैं, कुछ हो नहीं रहा है. There's nothing substantial that is happening below the surface. And typically, if you observe the gestation period for each and every such new idea, I mean, whichever we talk, I mean, even the research that you would be doing, say the quantum computing that you are probably learning about, or you're maybe just reading in the research papers, that was sort of started, that revolution sort of started 15 years back. It's still not commercialized. Machine learning algorithms that you're working on probably today are sort of things of 1970s, 80s. I mean, people started deliberating on those lines. The concepts are starting to seed. The non-intrusive load monitoring, the one that I'm working on right now, that's a 15, 20-year-old idea. The patents have started lapsing. It's now sort of coming to a point where it can be adopted by masses. So I'm just saying there's a tremendous gestation period between what you do in research and what is actually coming out in the market. Now, you could bridge that gap, and the one who takes that, I would say, opportunity would have solved for the opportunity cost. I mean, technically, somebody could think of doing that 15 years later or 10 years later. Can you reduce the time lapse? Can you reduce the turnaround time and make it happen within 4 or 5 years? But how do you identify if this is relevant or not? Start talking. You have an idea, like the girl, she was just talking about her idea about, say, smart parking. Amazing. Just start talking to people who are working on this field. Start talking to people, start talking to entrepreneurs, or start listening to their podcasts, or start reading their blogs, or even just going through the websites for that matter. What is happening in the US? What is happening in smart parking? What is happening in VJTI? What is happening in Sign in IIT Bombay? I mean, are there people who are working in smart parking? If the answer is yes, how can I supplement their efforts? How do I what are the gaps in their, I would say, processes which I can sort of solve? And I may not necessarily partner with them, but I would have found a niche for myself. Because these things, they always start from niche. Because if you're solving a problem, say for example, you could be solving a logistics problem where the food delivery is happening in 25-30 minutes. You could maybe solve it with a Blinkit sort of approach in 15 minutes. But that 10-minute deficit is solving somebody's problem. But is that changing the society? Is that changing the way we typically operate? Is that really meaningful enough for us as a user to be contributing? So these guys were smart. The Blinkit guys were smart. They knew that they were solving it for Zomato. They knew the shelf life for them was very, very short, because kal ko koi aur aake bolega 15 nahi 14 minutes. And how do you compete? So technically the niche is very important, and you must understand what are you solving for. White Hat, they knew that they were not creating a story which is at par with Baiju. I mean, all the complaints aside, all the negative PR aside, I mean, just evaluate the business on its merits. White Hat was never designed to be a company that could sustain the waves that Baiju sustained. White Hat was never designed to be a company that probably Coursera eventually became. I mean, it was always designed to sort of be that catalyst who goes to the market first with the type of program that they have, and what kind of impact that they can create in that short span of time. So they evaluated their time very sensitively. So, same is the case with Blinkit. So I think there are niches that these guys had identified. They knew the shelf life was short, and therefore the target was make it attractive enough for somebody else so that they can come and acquire me. And the wealth creation was immense, employment creation was immense, job creation was immense, and it was a win-win situation for all the parties. No matter good or bad, it also created enough value for the consumers, and you can't just deny that. So I think in terms of my journey with the ideas, while I was learning about various new things that was happening both in the government sector and in the corporate sector, what came as a realization and more as a shock was, if we are at all serious about environment, we must do something very, very meaningful. If you are serious about sustainability, if you're serious about energy efficiency or water efficiency, where is the data to back it? And we realized that unlike other industries, say your banking, you would not agree to your bank if they don't give you account statements or your credit card bills, or if you would not agree with, say, Airtel or Vodafone not giving you your itemized, phone bill. You would want that accountability because you're used to that paradigm. When it came to critical resources like electricity and water, because it was so politicized and it was sort of almost seen as a birthright, nobody is bothered to track, because who would track? I mean, it's available in abundance, and that was our opportunity. That for us felt like, hey, we're running into a risk. Nobody understands the interdependency of electricity and water. Nobody understands the risk that your board is exposed to, the electricity board is exposed to. Nobody understands the risk that your water board is exposed to. There's immense opportunity there. There are areas in India where the water has gone below physical depletion zone. There are areas in India where the water has gone below the economic depletion belt. So how would you know? How would you quantify? Who's going to make that data available for you? We, of course, started with water, and that is my favorite area. I mean, although I specialize in energy water nexus, water seemed like a more, I would say, more aligned to the moral compass. But I think a few months into this, and I was talking to people while I was still working with World Business Council, and I realized that the water market is not mature enough. I mean, there is enough cognizance in the industry, but are we willing to move as quickly as we want? Are we willing to go to the end user as quickly as we want? Or is there enough tailwind? So there is one, you could fight against everything and then try and create an impact, but it's a mammoth task, and you may not always find the result to be very, very conducive. It could get demoralizing as well. So I think it's smart. It would be smart on anybody's part to really start with something like, as Divya was also talking about, just identify if the same use case could be applied somewhere else. And what we were doing with water, we realized the same use case was applicable for electricity as well. So we quickly flipped the story to electricity. We reached out to utilities, and that was the first taste of blood in our mouth. कि एक बार electricity board के पास गया, एक बार पता लगा कि भाई it's a problem that is happening in masses, and the first paying client that we had was Jusco in Jamshedpur, a very small utility, but a Tata utility, and we were working with actual users, and money wasn't as important. Our invoice to them was dirt cheap. I mean, so much so that they couldn't even have thought about doing this on their own, or they couldn't even have thought about getting a consultant or really validating this, because just getting a consultant to validate the idea would have sort of been more expensive than the experiment itself. And with that, the first 1,500 homes sort of arrived for us. We were evaluating, we were working on the electricity data of the first 1,500 odd users, and 1,500 was a good enough user base to really identify a pattern. What we realized was people tend to find themselves uncomfortable if they're too far away from the mean. So for example, if everybody is following the traffic light, you would hardly find the another car just, passing by at full speed, they would respect the traffic light as well. It is the Artemis principle. But again, go to Jogeshwari or go to another town in India. You would identify these street lights are operating more like fairy lights. It's just there. You may not want to stop. It is contextual. But again, the same people, when they just cross the flyover and enter the Andheri region, you would find them stopping. What is that change that is happening? It is essentially the group of people who are behaving in a similar way that is sort of influencing others' decision as well to behave in that exact fashion. So for example, if the fact that AquaGuard is sort of a norm, or water filtration is sort of a norm in our country, one who is genuinely serious about water quality would understand it is not necessary in Mumbai. Again, it's a privilege to be in Mumbai. It is not the case anywhere else in the country, but the water quality is good enough for you to just boil it, drink it, or sometimes just use a candle filter, and that should just suffice. Yet, you would see tremendous penetration of RO in Mumbai. You would also see, just ad hoc adoption of water filtration technologies. Why? Because you've seen your parents do that. You've seen others in your society do that. You've seen your friends adopt it in different cities, and it sort of is now hard-coded. You would probably, most of you, if you have an AC in your home, you would probably service it right before the summer months. Why? Who decided that? Why in the month of March? Why not in the month of October? Why not in the month of December? Why not January, February? There is no answer. There's no logic behind it. Why do you just service the AC once in a year? Why not twice in a year? Of course, air quality is very different in Noida compared to that in Mumbai, compared to that in Chennai. Why just service AC once in a month? So again, we are very hard-coded to behave in a certain way. And these biases, they exist in every form of our life, including me wearing jeans. Who decided the jeans has to be blue in color? Why any other color of the jeans is not so, easily available or not as relevant? These are sort of norms. These are sort of things that you typically see, and this is sort of being force-fed sometimes as well. That's the job of marketing. So now you have to sort of understand that the problem has to be meaningful enough. It has to be aligned to the moral compass. Yes, that is important. But you also need to understand how much can you sort of change the human behavior. Can they adopt it? Who is the end user? So for example, the Splendor example that was sort of coming from behind, I think it's a lovely use case. आपको pursue करना चाहिए. Just that you have to identify कि ये hero के लिए applicable है या ये end user के लिए applicable है. अगर hero के लिए applicable है, then you sort of have to change the language. आपको शायद किसी और तरीके से उनको explain करना होगा. Maybe more research paper, maybe a patent. But if it is designed for the end user, why not reach out to the mechanic? आपके VJTI के सामने बाहर में 10 mechanic मिल जाएंगे. Prototypes office में यहाँ पे campus में बन सकते हैं. वहाँ पे 10-15 retrofit कीजिए आप and देखिए क्या result निकल के आता है. I think that would sort of give you that feedback ki, why are users using this? Because from our experience, we realized even our product, and that's the case with most of the products. It's like an SUV. You buy it for a different reason and use it for a different reason. Have you ever realized that? Ki SUV kya power or 4-wheel drive and many other things. You would evaluate that, right? You would evaluate the masculinity of the car. But you're driving it in a city. While you're driving in the city, you probably the masculinity of the car really does not come out. You can't even say with the Porsche in Mumbai. Can you do 0 to 60 in 2.5? You can't. You just can't. But you still adopt Porsche. Can you drive at that speed in Mumbai-Pune expressway? The answer is no. You would be given a challan if you do that. But you still get a Porsche. Again, it's a very different reason why you would get a product and why would you use a product. And that is also something that you need to be cognizant of when you are experimenting with your ideas, when you're experimenting with your truth. For example, again, coming back to you, and I'm sorry, I'm using you as an example, but say anything, a retrofit on a silencer could be of an environmental sort of cause. Environment को फायदा हो सकता है उससे, but maybe it could be adopted by people who would sort of want a very fancy design to be attached to the silencer. Something which is sort of something that does not exist, and they might want to boast it in the form of कि मैंने ये environment के लिए किया. In their head, their purchase decision was happening because it was just good enough. It was just good looking. It probably made the right sound. It probably gave them the right feeling. It probably gave them the right thrust. It probably improved their mileage. But when they talk to the users, when the word starts spreading out, they would probably talk about many environmental care. So again, very, very different things, very, very different, very contextual. So if there's any specific, I would say, product line that you're thinking on, what would be very, very relevant is just go to the end user. Find a way to reach out to the end user. Get the prototypes out, find a co-founder like Divya was again talking about, just find the co-founder. I mean, it wouldn't be a mammoth task. I mean, it's just a midnight project. You wouldn't even have to bunk your classes to do that, honestly. But no, I mean, I'm keeping the political correctness aside. I'm just going to say that it's not that कि Harvard में LBS में, I mean, I can at least talk about LBS and Oxford. वहाँ पे भी classes होते हैं. And people go to the Oxford Foundry to just sit out after the college hours, and they would spend the night, and उसमें thrill है, उसमें fun है. अगले दिन नहाए नहीं कुछ नहीं सीधा फाउंड्री से उठ के क्लास में चले गए and you probably are feeling drowsy during the class, but उसमें मजा है. And I think that is something that you could try and create here. I mean, I've seen bunk beds in your incubation cell. I mean, which incubation cell could do that for you? I mean, that is sort of trying to inculcate that behavior in you. कि भाई आप यहाँ पे दुनिया बसा सकते हो अपना, if you want. You could get rid of your PG, you could get rid of your hostel, just settle there. And get the job. I mean, get the work done. So I think the approach to the problem, the ability to hustle would be very important. It is okay to fail. I think a very safe idea would definitely not be a meritorious idea. I mean, you would see the moment you go into go out and try and sell this product, you will find many such similar things happening in and around this space. So more often than not, you would have to take the least taken path, but you would also therefore would be exposed to tremendous amount of risk, and that's why this field is super exciting. Because while you take the risk, the returns are also disproportionate. I mean, it's like a weighing balance. The more risk you take, the higher returns you get, and these returns are not necessarily always financial. Of course, financial returns are super important, and that would translate into many other things, even your future endeavors, maybe the next big idea that you could be working on, maybe you could support 10 other ideas that is coming to life, and maybe you might as well want to live on the Marine Drive. It's totally fine. I mean, you could also buy a property in Canary Wharf because you've deserved it. The thing is, the reason could be anything, but to ensure that you are able to sustain that would mean you have the ability to hustle. And you can only do that when there's an alignment, a proper alignment with your moral compass. I mean, for example, if I have to work on an idea that is sort of, say, a one-star rated air conditioner, and if I'm asked to sell, I would find it very, very difficult to do that. I mean, I could do that for the first 6 months, 10 months, but eventually I'll run out of steam. So the alignment would sort of give you that energy. And I think I can deep dive more into more contextual, more specific. If there's any specific idea that you would want to discuss, if you can just deliberate on that for next 2-3 minutes, I think that would be lovely. Any specific idea that, or any specific topic that you would want to discuss or cover? No, none? Okay, I think the monologue went for too long. I think most of them would have slept right at the very back. I mean, I can't see them. But sure, I think what we could do is we could have the Q. Sure.
हेलो सर, माई सेल्फ प्रतीक.
Hi.
सर मैंने एक चालू किया था, मतलब छोटा सा स्टार्टअप बोल सकते,
हाँ.
तो वो फेल हो गया. थोड़े मतलब दिन चला, 1 महीने किया, फिर फर्स्ट जब मैंने स्टार्ट किया तो फेल हो गया. अभी मुझे सेकंड आइडिया आ रहा है, पर वो ऐसा हो रहा है कि पहला वाला फेल हो गया तो सेकंड वाला करूँ फिर से फेल हो जाएगा. ऐसा थोड़ा एक डर लग रहा है छोटा सा.
बट इससे किसको फर्क पड़ता है सेकंड वाला फेल होता है तो?
पर खुद को तो ऐसा लगता है ना कि
इट्स ओके. अब किसी को याद भी नहीं रहेगा, आपको खुद को याद नहीं रहेगा कुछ दिनों के बाद. अब वी फेल्ड सो मेनी टाइम्स. कितने पिचेस हमने वी हैड टू रीवर्क, एंड हमें वी डोंट इवन रिमेंबर कितने ऐसे पिचेस हुए होंगे जहाँ पे इन्वेस्टर ने पैसे पहले ही भगा दिया हमें कि भाई ये तो बकवास है, क्या सॉल्व कर रहे हो. एंड वी यू जस्ट गो बैक to your drawing board, आप वापस से homework करते हैं, आप वापस से उस पे काम करते हैं, किसी और idea पे काम करते हैं. जैसे मैंने ये बोला कि water और electricity वाला, कि water में शुरू किया and we saw कि भाई आगे वाला तो they're just discounting the entire idea, उनको समझ ही नहीं रहा है कि क्या बोल रहे हैं, उनको फायदा भी नहीं दिख रहा है इसका. तो जो एंड यूजर है उसको फायदा नहीं दिख रहा है, अगर हम जिनके थ्रू जाएंगे उनको फायदा नहीं दिख रहा है, तो मे बी वी आर थिंकिंग इन द रॉन्ग डायरेक्शन. बिकॉज यू वुड हैव टू वन ऑल्सो रेस्पेक्ट द फैक्ट कि जो लोग उस प्रोसेस पे हैं, जो लोग वो काम कर रहे हैं, या जो आपके एंड यूजर्स हैं, दे आर चैम्पियंस. सो अगर कोई बाइक चला रहा है, दे आर सॉर्ट ऑफ चैम्पियंस. दे नो कि कब गियर चेंज करना है, कब क्लच प्रेस करना है, मुझे थ्रॉटल चाहिए, मुझे एक्सेलरेशन चाहिए, आरपीएम इम्पॉर्टेंट है या साउंड इम्पॉर्टेंट है, ऑल दैट दे नो दैट. सिमिलरली अगर ये किसी इंडस्ट्री के लिए बना रही है, किसी और के लिए बना रही है, जो इंडस्ट्री में जो इंजीनियर्स हैं जो काम कर रहे हैं, दे आर सॉर्ट ऑफ चैम्पियंस. आप ये नहीं बोल सकते कि नहीं. सो टेक्निकली व्हाट आई एम रियली ट्राइंग टू से इज कि उनका फीडबैक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है. सो अगर आप सेकंड आइडिया पे काम कर रहे हैं, जस्ट स्टार्ट टॉकिंग. आप शुरू कर दीजिए. सेकंड टाइम इज यू वुड हैव लर्न फ्रॉम योर मिस्टेक्स. पहली बार जो भी हुए वो शायद रिपीट नहीं होंगे. सेकेंड टाइम शायद कुछ और मिस्टेक्स करेंगे, एंड थर्ड टाइम में मे बी कुछ अच्छा निकल के आएगा. बट प्रिपेयर योर सेल्फ टू फेल. आई मीन इट्स ओके. एंड आप अगर सुंदर पिचाई का भी पॉडकास्ट सुनते हैं, आई मीन दी वन एंड ओनली थिंग दैट ही वुड सॉर्ट ऑफ ब्रिंग आउट वेरी लाउडली इन द ऑल हैंड्स मीटिंग. सो टिपिकली पूरे गूगल का एक मीटिंग होता है, एंड उसमें वो ये बोलते हैं कि अगर आउटकम में बहुत ज़्यादा फोकस करेंगे तो कोई रिस्क लेगा नहीं. दे विल फाइंड द सेफेस्ट पाथ बिकॉज उसको डिलीवर करना है. क्लियरली हम लोग जो भी डिस्कशन कर रहे हैं वहाँ पे सेफ बात कुछ है ही नहीं. सो देयर इज अ ब्राइट चांस कि हम जो भी डिस्कस कर रहे हैं वो सब फेल होंगे. एंड इट्स ओके. मतलब वी आर सॉर्ट ऑफ थिक स्किन्ड. आदत पड़ गई है.
Hello sir, my name is Srishti Kaur. So there is an idea that popped into my mind, but how do I decide, or how do we decide the relevance of that idea? So the idea was basically memories. We used first in the olden times, memories were stored or cherished in the form of stories. Then we went on to photographs or paintings, and then photographs, and then now they are stored in the form of videos. So the thought came to my mind that how about storing or cherishing memories in the form of an immersive technology, that is with the use case of a metaverse,
Sure.
3D,
Sure.
like scanning things, or for example, how about scanning a wedding in 3D and giving that experience to someone, that you can relive your wedding probably 30-40 years, or show it to your kids in a form that you can go to minute details of that wedding, what dishes were served, who are the guests, how did the venue look like. But then the thought that comes to my mind is, how relevant is this idea? Because it is just a form of storing or cherishing memories. It is not solving any problem. So does business always have to be about solving a problem? And
Okay.
that kind of I have that bias in my mind, whether is this business or is this idea even relevant?
Sure. It's a lovely question and very deep rooted as well. So answer to your question is one, you would never know unless you start talking to these people. So if you have an idea, and metaverse mein aap, if you have the capability, or you are and your partner, if you have the capability to build that, do that. पहले 3-4 वेडिंग में आप ऐसे फ्री में कर दीजिए ना, एंड देखिए क्या फीडबैक आता है उनसे. we don't always go by the rationale. So अगर इतना rationale important होता, we wouldn't have gone for liquid soaps from normal bar soaps. Liquid soaps did not necessarily solve a problem for us. If you look at the chemical constituents, I mean the composition of the deodorant and your aftershave lotion, they're exactly the same. But they're sold in different ways. I mean, the surface cleaners, I mean, the surface coating that we were discussing, I mean, it's essentially the same thing. It's just used in different cases. So it's not always rational. वरना फिर एरियल का टॉप लोड का अलग मिलता है एंड फ्रंट लोड का अलग मिलता है. देयर इज नो रैशनल बिहाइंड इट. आई मीन if you remember your chemistry lectures or chemical lectures, I mean, there's no rational. So you don't always need to hit to a value layer where sort of you're solving for an environmental consciousness or you solving for health consciousness, there is immense importance to luxuries that you have in life, and therefore the luxury brands, they tend to do very, very well. So typically, if you have an idea which can which can generate sort of a more fulfilling experience for the user, कि आज से 3 साल के बाद 10 साल के बाद, even just to show their grandkids कि मेरी शादी ऐसी हुई थी, I think it's a tremendous value that you can add in the society. It changes the way I would typically tell my daughter कि अब हम लोग की शादी ऐसी हुई थी, ये आए थे, ये अंकल उस समय ऐसे दिखते थे. I think just I would say churn out those values. वो जो खुशी है या वो nostalgia है. So there is a famous I would say go for this HBR pyramid. This I don't recall who created that pyramid, but there's this HBR article where you can see the value pyramid. Just Google for value pyramid, and you would find many value elements, and they could be functional in nature, they could be emotional in nature, they could be anything. So the more you go upstream, the better are the chances of you nailing it. And especially with luxury items, especially with, say, for example, your concept with metaverse, I think you have the potential to go upstream in terms of कि emotional level पे हम hit कर पा रहे किसी चीज़ के, and therefore the adoption may not always be rational. It could just be out of the need to just document it. It could be out of the need to just be slightly different from some other wedding. It could be out of the need to be the first one to have got that documented in metaverse. It could also be out of the need of, say, सबका होता है मेरा भी होना चाहिए. So that language would also change, but it's an amazing idea. Just pursue it. क्या होगा? नहीं चलेगा, it's fine. I mean, we're anyways going with that mindset कि शायद नहीं चलेगा, but शायद चल जाए. I mean, the upside is what is important, and you have nothing to lose.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. Lovely catching up with you guys. You've been amazing audience. Thank you.
So just a minute, I have a question. So this is a general question for both of you. Anyone of you can answer.
Sure.
So in cities, we see that even in metro cities, that there is a huge population which is still middle class. So like in middle class, there is some kind of that thinking that even if you start a startup, it won't do well in initial stages. It won't do well for 2 to 3 years as well. So even if it is a solid idea, they give up on that, and like they do their job as usual with a 9 to 5 job. They won't be able to give their time towards their startup or anything you can say over that.
Sure.
So
Ladies first. I mean, you should.
For this, I have one. So Happy to did not, because the concept is very new of not cleaning the toilet and this thing. It did not hit to the people at the start. But I wanted to sustain Happy to. So मैंने Happy try, फिर दूसरे to get the revenue. I started that. So the basic thing is कि अगर आप if you want to sell, if you want to make a startup, it's okay to have another backline to fund that startup. So that's what कि अगर किसी को होटल खोलना है, वो बाजू में पानी पूरी का ठेला बना के बैठा हुआ है, तो उसका पानी पूरी का ठेला चलने दो, because उससे होटल बनेगा. So something like that. So I always believe that it's not necessary, because it's a new idea for me also. Convincing people, okay, this is something getting into it, and it will take time. But at the same time, I have to fund myself and my startup. So I started, which is already going in the market, because with the same concept. So I tried to that water and stain repellent for shoes, which is already going and people are buying online. Uska sales zyada hai. But that is funding my own startup of the Happy To, and I'm going now to government and everything. So the point is कि it's not necessary कि even if the job is there, if you have a light work job and you have the proof of concept कि ये हो गया और आपके customers आ रहे हैं, you get to that one level and then you can leave. Because I have my friends who are doing job at IIT Bombay itself, like in Sign and Desai, and she's having her own startup also. So but she's managing both well. And you have co-founders also, right? So always have co-founders. You also, like, it's not a one thing that you have all the load. The load is being distributed to 2-3 people, and they all will take a load after doing, what do you say, things out together. So I feel risk hai, and it will take 3 to 4 years. But at the same time, you can have something in background. Like I have my PhD in background. I have my, some few chemicals which are already going in the market, and to sustain this. So you can have these things in the background, and at the same time you have to, nurture that particular nurture that particular startup with iske nutrients. It's a seed. It will take time to become a plant, but you need to create an environment around it which will give you, nutrients to that particular seed. So I feel that this थोड़ा जुगाड़ तो करना ही पड़ेगा.
I'll just add to her point, and just one, I would say, disclaimer would be, when you find your co-founder, you may want to be in the same stage of life. So for example, आप अगर job करते करते अगर startup कर रहे, you would expect the other person to also be the same, वरना commitment levels में ऊपर नीचे हो जाती हैं, and that is a difficult thing to navigate. And another thing is, your liabilities are sort of rock bottom at the moment. There's no liability when you're a student. So I think just leverage this opportunity. Because again, maybe your liabilities are going to grow as you move to your 30s and 40s, and then वापस से वो decline होते once you sort of created that wealth for yourself. But बीच के शायद 15-20 साल ऐसे होंगे कि बाहर निकलने का मौका नहीं मिलेगा उससे, and you would want a very sustained source of income. Although I again, because it's being recorded, I'll have to be politically correct here, but I have my daughter, and I'm still working on the startup, and my wife would kill me for this. I'm just because मैं ये ज्ञान दे रहा हूँ आपको, but so in general, you would also understand that once you start getting that initial traction, once वो जो click होता है ना, उसके बाद you sort of understand कि ये चल जाएगा, ये डूबेगा नहीं, मतलब I'll make a living out of it. And then that's worth taking that risk. But wo discovery from the conceptualization of the idea to the point where you sort of get that click, I think this time is a very safe time. This environment is a very safe environment to be operating in, because liabilities are again very, very limited.
So, thank you for attending this talk. I would like to thank Dr. Divya and Mr. Kaushik. And I would like to thank one of my good friends. Kranti, can you just come on stage? So this all could happen because Kranti sir was helped me. He's an entrepreneur, he's an agriculturist, he's a PhD student doing PhD in opposite ICT. So मराठी माणूस आहे, नाशिकमध्ये तुम्हाला जे प्रश्न पडले आहेत, म्हणजे आपण शहरी भागात नसून गावाखेड्यात राहतो, जिल्ह्यात राहतो, आणि आपण हे कसं करू शकतो, तर ह्याला जाऊन भेटा. हा तुम्हाला व्यवस्थित सगळं करून देईल. आणि नंबर हवा असेल माझ्याकडे मी नंबर देतो, नाहीतर हा इकडे उभा आहे, ह्याच्याकडनं नंबर घ्या. ही जस्ट स्टेज नेक्स्ट टू VJTI ICT. Okay, so thank you for attending today's talk. And we have kept refreshments for you outside. Just take them and you can leave them. Thank you.